us writing some code with some LLM tools. You were doing some additional work yesterday, Jasper, in a solo stream. Do you want to do a recap of what happened yesterday?
Sure thing. So on Wednesday, we had a stream with Enrique, and he set out a plan for some refactoring. And I basically followed that plan, not all the points, but some of the points on that plan for the refactoring. And so hopefully the code is now in a bit more of a manageable state. And we split up, there's some very big files, which the LLM rather lazily threw together. So now they're split up, and they've got some UI components separated, and generally it feels much more under control. So I think that's a good place for us to go into the final couple of days for us to stream on this piece of work, where it's kind of functionally mostly there, but not entirely yet. I think there's some things, I think you had some things in your head that you wanted to get in there, but I think it's very, very close to just being a usable piece of software for us that we can then just do minor tweaks going forward. Yeah.
Cool, sounds good. Let me share my screen.
Cool.
I'm still experiencing minor lag issues. so
yeah,
there's always two lag spikes. I need to fix this with my ISP. So
it must be a Wi-Fi connection.
What they tell me.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me try to see first where we at and how does it work and so on. So I will try to use with the same
Yeah, it should be functionally no different.
Let me crap
to
a random one dropping here.
Yeah, so I'm just saying it should be functionally no different to Wednesday.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully.
Just try to remember how it worked then. So,
yeah.
So yeah, so I'd say let's try to get as close as possible feature complete today.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we can fine tune tomorrow. Good. So I can now upload another image as well. So it's kind of the first step is to create a library of images to be used.
Is it creating separate images, or is that a single image there?
It's a single image.
That's a bug, so we might have to fix that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Right.
Now
this
it does
one
separate
worked.
images.
The other one worked. Let me go back. So this is the main editor. It's the state it was before. Somehow my preview works again, but it didn't work always correctly. So now I can go to the image. There's a lot of usability problems here, but let's get features first. And I can click an image here and bring it here. And I can click image here and bring it here. Now we have at least a couple of things. We have editor things that we need to do Z order and things like that. But I think there's we need to create a way for us to tweak the images, right? Because we need to be able to correct misbehaving automation.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion. So I'd say we create a page that allows us to select one of the images and fine tune it, right?
Yep.
So let me figure out which tool is the best. Well, let's start with Gemini. You have a technical documentation here, right? There's agents. So is the technical documentation referred from the agents?
Good question. I don't know. But the technical documentation was updated yesterday. It was the last thing we did on the stream. There you go.
It is here.
That's great.
Good. So it should take a look at the agents automatically. I want to a new page. Yeah. Oh, is it too small? Should I make it bigger? Control plus.
It's not bad. It's not.
That's a little bit. Yeah. Allows me to edit one of the images allows me to process one images. This page, make this page accessible from by selecting a more dots menu from an image. This page should display the selected image as the main component, and we'll later add some controls to edit it. There we go. Let's see where we go.
Are you finding yourself getting better at writing these descriptions?
Yes and no. I'm more confident that I don't have to be very good. Like I kind of find that. I think there's certain things that come with this.
Yeah.
You understand what they probably look for.
Yeah.
I also don't really fine tune in very deeply in the early stages. I think I have a better understanding what parts I can edit afterwards easily. That's one of those things. So I generally just want to hook everything up, and I want to see it is there. Quite often they generate code that doesn't really fully compile, the screen doesn't show what it needs to show, and so on. Get the kind of the easy problems out of the way first, and then I can focus. I'm the type of person who can't keep a lot of things in memory in once, so I have very limited chunk space in my head. I probably have less than most people. So I need to break down the problems in very small problems if I can. So I generally try to, I just want to first have everything here. Then I say, okay, I can forget all of this now. Now I can just focus on this. That's how I tend to write my code as well. When I used to write manually, that's what I did as well. So, okay, now I create a class that is hooked from here. I can forget everything else. I can just focus on this one.
I wonder whether, I was just thinking, I wonder whether, I mean, I like this approach where it's just kind of like get a screen and then just keep iterating. I wonder whether there's something fun to try maybe in another stream would be to kind of say, well, okay, I'm just going to draw out a bunch of screens kind of like as I kind of expect on a piece of paper, take a photo and upload that to Gemini and say, okay, this is kind of like what the site's going to look like. You know, these are the pages and this is what's going to happen. And then off you go. Maybe we can try that in the stream where we just kind of draw some boxes and arrows.
There's something that you can do that already. So if you go here, let me demo. So now I can go here and say,
well, yeah, not even that. I mean, it's just like screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, right?
Build this. Let's see what it does. But this, there goes my tokens.
That's inspired.
This eats a lot of tokens, man.
Does it?
But so I was talking with Pierre about this.
Yeah.
If Figma doesn't move quick, they're gonna be out of business. Like what is missing here from Claude Design is collaboration. And that's how Figma beats Sketch, right?
Yeah.
Collaboration, not quality of design, collaboration.
True.
This is now much better way of building software, but collaboration is missing. If they add collaboration here before Figma moves, Figma is done, right?
I mean, very nice, Juhani. I like it. Actually, that's kind of what Zeppelin gave to Sketch, right? It was the collaboration part. But then now So I wonder what happened to Zeppelin.
That's a good question.
And then the other thing that Figma did is that there was, what was that tool we used? Basically for Sketch, there was I remember we paid license for this thing. It was basically like a Git for Sketch. So it would version and store all of the Sketch files, and then designers could map them out, get the design files together on different,
Yeah, I remember, but I don't remember what it's called.
Cool. Can't remember either.
Okay, I don't see the
control. They had it. If you go back. Yeah, scroll to the top.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's cool. It's on this screen where it put it on. Oh, last time it had the dots in here.
Let me do a hard refresh.
Yeah.
Browser cache. Yeah. Are they here?
Yeah.
I wanted them to be elsewhere, but
I don't know. I think it kind of makes sense to be on the
maybe it
library
could be here as well. I hate this. Library.
I think to me, Juhani, at least in my brain, is like preparing the image. You know, we have a whole section where it's just about images, getting the images, preparing the images, whatever. And then once we get into the thumbnail design, it's like, well, all of the image stuff is done already, so I don't have to think about it.
That assumes you can do all the decisions before you see it in the right context. But
that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
But I think there's not really a limitation. We don't need to do it either way. I think this could be good. Actually, what we could do here to make this a little bit cleaner is to basically enable us to select the ones we want to take to the next stage.
Yeah,
now what we are doing here, I actually like that it gives me all of these different versions of the image here.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Because what we could do is saying which ones to import to the library. There's also no kind of way to get back to that screen, I guess, right?
Isn't that, there used to be a button at the back. If you scroll to the top of this page.
Back to library.
Back to library.
Okay, it's the hierarchy of the...
Right. It's in
okay, got you.
Okay.
So I wonder if the mental model is that this is the editor and the library is kind of separate from, like, addition to this. Now the library is like the top, and then this is either way kind of works. But the information architecture gets a little bit... But then we can get back to that a little bit later. As long as we can go back to editing this and doing more things. Maybe the right way, if this is the case, so this is not like a workflow, it's more about you go to library, do edit things, and then you go back there. So now we solve the problem completely of what I mentioned before. But now the only thing we need to do here is we need to be able to delete an image, right?
Yes.
Because then we can clean this up, and then that solves the problem.
So can we add in here,
more?
before you hit enter, let me add a request.
Okay. Yep.
So what we have when we upload the image, we have the original one and the other ones, and they kind of all mix together, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that's kind of distracting. So there's a kind of a sense of like, we want to group the original ones in a, whether we got tabs or something, I don't know what we want to do. But
that's a good idea.
Or even if it could even just be like, we have a top, basically two sections on the page, right? One section is like the processed images, and then the section underneath the
we have
original
basically
images.
two ways of thinking about this. If we think of user's perspective, user can think about it as one group is from one image. You have the original and the cut image. That could be a group. There could be another group. Or the other mental model, neither of them feels wrong, is here's the original ones, here's the processed ones.
Either one would work. Either one, I think, would be good. We have to just try it and see how it feels, right?
Can we make an assumption that we will never use the original directly? Probably not. I don't think we can do that. Because then we could just have the originals there and just kind of keep them as a background. And then we have these all the processes. We assume one of these is probably going to be good. Or
how about we try the first? How about we do a section where we have a grouping where we have the original and then the two processed ones as a set, and then you have another set. So we basically have like an image sets. We just try and see how that works. And if we don't like it, we can do something else.
sometimes like I write to the LLM, I was like, okay, I need to write in a way that...
Connection.
Sorry.
Not being stable. So if I drop out a little bit.
Yeah. It's just saying, it's sometimes when I write to the LLMs, I kind of feel like I need to write in a way that I don't repeat previous words like that or something like that. I was like, what does it matter? Like,
yeah.
Learning to this like writing still writing not my native language. It's always like, I need to try to make it look a bit better.
You know, it won't be long before someone, maybe we should do this for fun. That's a joke. Kind of have a writing style guide for conveying with LLMs. Because there's this thing is like how condensed could you make the? I mean, this is an interesting thing. So how condensed can you make that message and still make it?
You can write it in this programming language called mindfuck or whatever it's called.
Yeah, brainfuck. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that would be interesting.
How do I put this together, etc. When I don't know what to say, I just write etc.
Did you try yet? I've asked you this before, I think. Did you try yet chatting with LLMs in another language like Finnish?
No, I haven't tried because I can't write Finnish in tech context. I haven't, but I've given the LLMs German documents, which they eat no problem. Yeah, for them, the input is just meta disk or like same thing.
Yeah, I have to say that's almost for me these days. I mean, my German's a bit rusty, but yeah, I'll almost always throw something into Gemini or something, just say, what does it say? Actually, I was in a call earlier this week with a bunch of people I know actually, and I joined in the call a little bit late, and everyone's there talking German, and then everyone starts switching to English. I say, no, like guys, let's stick with German. I used to be the guy who walks in the room and forces everybody to switch language. Working for a German car company here, for example. Yeah, it was very German, but then I walked the room and everybody's forced to switch for me. It feels bad, man. It feels really bad, and although my German's got quite rusty, I mean, I could stick with the meeting and it was fine, but and it would have been easier to do it in English, but I just felt really bad.
I bet it feels worse for you than it does for me, because I'm not asking them to switch to my native language, but you are.
Yeah, right. That's true.
So
I mean, I know everybody.
Compromise somewhere in the middle.
Well, the thing is, luckily I knew everybody. I haven't spoken to quite a few of them in a while, but they all speak fantastic English anyway, so that would not have been a problem for them. Right. But it just felt rude in a way. Yeah, anyway.
Fair enough. All right, let's try to do a hard refresh again. I wonder if we should use some kind of setup to
that's
store
correct,
these things. Well, this is just not split correctly.
It's not split, but the grouping.
Yeah,
the grouping looks fine.
Work. Oops.
I don't think
it happened like this.
I don't think we need to do much more than that, right? I mean, that sort of grouping, just sort of like a visual.
Good. This is good. You could tweak the visual for sure. You could make it look nicer, but for now, that doesn't matter. Yes. So now I am able to go and the context menu. The context menu should.
It's interesting watching you, Juhani, because I'm going to start to see all of the little glitches in your brain where you're like, that's not working. That, like for me, that would have been like a super. I would have like, oh, who cares? But for you, it's like immediately that's annoyance. Right?
Yeah, to me, I can't deal with shit UI. Good. This works. Also, the delete action doesn't work. Now it works. I fixed it very quickly. All right. So let's think about this. What do we want to do? So there's at least two use cases where we probably want to be able to. In this case, we want to say, okay, well, you need to process the splitting them, but there should be a way to manually split probably. I think that's kind of the thing. If the automatic split doesn't work, manual split is pretty trivial.
Yeah, agreed.
So maybe you should just be able to split it horizontally or vertically, direct lines. I don't think we want to be doing squiggly lines.
Do you think the easy thing is just ask it to do like a selection? Like I select the region. I mean, not even a horizontal or vertical line.
Yeah.
Just drag it across the thing. It's like,
Gotcha.
okay, separate this person from the other person or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Actually, there's what we are looking here is cropping. I don't think we. Do we want to? The question is, do we want to kind of split it into two to save two different images, or do we want to take one image and then just use one of them? I think the probability is that we just want to crop.
Yeah.
Because we can just re-import the image again if we want to use both people in the image, right?
Now, okay, yeah. So if we're going to go down that route, I think we should also have a think about having a standard.
Be able to crop the image.
What's the
Because in this case, it will know how the crop should work. Go ahead.
But I think we should try and enforce a standard aspect ratio, so that, because if we always say, you know, even if it pads out blank pixels, we have, don't you think? Because otherwise we're going to be in this, or it might simplify things, because as we add them into the editor, they would just feel naturally proportionate to each other, because that's the danger, is if you end up with them not being kind of the same. And
but you're able to resize them in the image.
Yeah.
The problem might be that if you keep them same, so quite often, especially in, it says images. Can I drop multiple? The problem might be that, it works. this goes a little bit crazy.
Okay.
But the problem might be that we are different size on the camera. So
yeah. Okay. Let's take that out for now. But there's something in my head that's like.
Yeah, that could be.
Resizing images is always painful.
Okay. How can I want to be able to crop. Okay. Okay, it's still working on it. That's why.
Yeah, it didn't apply the changes, I think.
Yeah, okay. It's just refresh some page. Yeah, I find it like if you have a feature that is relatively common, like cropping, it's just better to just say do cropping, because anything you define further might conflict with some learning data, and it can just do whatever the learning data is, what is the probable tokens that are there. So it should go with the defined pattern. I hope it doesn't take any UI patterns from GIMP, because ruins everything. Always that's to me, that's kind of the litmus test of when I go to an operating system app store or something, and if they have GIMP as featured application, I say, okay, you haven't done your job. Although honestly, I haven't used GIMP for 5 years, so maybe it's better now. But it used to be absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast a while ago, like last year sometime, about the major upgrade to GIMP. It sounds like they put in a lot. I mean, it was. I'm not quite sure it was a rewrite, but it sounded pretty close.
There we go.
Okay, what's going to okay, and now I had this sort of intuitive thing about why that aspect ratio thing is going to be interesting, but we'll get to it. We'll see. I think we'll see the problem at some point.
Yeah. Okay.
But hold on, wait. We've got a destructive crop, right?
Yes.
Do we want to have it so that we say the crop adds a new image?
This is a good question. I think if you think from practical perspective, the probability that we want to use both sides from one frame is quite small. It's very unlikely two people look fine in the same frame. There's a workaround if you want to use both by just importing the image again. But I'm not sure that's the right thing to do. If it feels like that's the way to go, then yes. Now, what is the mental model we want to enforce here from the user? you import an image and you work towards perfection from that image for one user, one presenter, or you build a library of pictures of presenters.
So it's the first one in my view, because the idea is not that. So the starting point of this is that we want to have images from the actual video in the thumbnail.
Yes.
So we don't need to have a library that goes back in time, because I don't want to use an image from 2 weeks ago. I want to use the image from today. So we don't need to keep it from that sense. The only reason I say that is, what if I want to recrop for some reason? What happens if I don't quite like it? Can I just recrop? I always find, we're not going to have 100 images, so.
No. So if you think that the end goal is have an LLM feed these images here and run the first guess processing. So this drag and drop shouldn't happen. This drag and drop is replaced by LLM at some point, right? Or another way to feed this into here. So what you then do as a user, you look at these things saying, okay, firstly I should be able to zoom in. Now that I cannot zoom in, I can't tell anything about them. Because I don't always want to go to process image to, the back doesn't work correctly.
To be honest, I wonder whether we should just tap on the image, click on the image to open it up into the process image screen.
Yes, that's it, because we don't need the.
Although, now we get to, we could want to select the image. No, we don't need to select the image for this in the library.
No.
So that's fine. Well, well. I don't know about that. We'll see. Because Juhani, let's say we do a bunch of work here, we find the 2 images we want. I think before we get to the next screen, we probably want to say, well, in my mental model, I would probably say, well, I want only these images to flow into the next screen. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's not the right way. I
think you're onto something though, because that allows us to compartmentalize again the thing. Maybe we don't select 2, maybe we select X number of things that we think are good.
What I'm not sure I like entirely is the step 1, step 2 kind of vibe that's going on here. I would rather say maybe we land on the editor page as a starting point, and we have an image management sort of function that pops out, as it were.
Yes, that's true. But if we think about this page as kind of, this is like the best pictures or the selected pictures, right? So here we have just the selected images, and then we can go back to the library. This interaction needs to be different. Where you can go back to the library and then come here and select which ones to show. So maybe we use the favorite concept instead of selected. We say these are my favorites. So we let you favorite images, and
that works. That works.
And just I had another UI thing that I couldn't just look at.
What was it?
The progress bar doesn't work correct.
Progress bar. Okay.
This is actually one thing that when I was building the word match, the climbing thing, there's a lot of processing going on in the background, importing images, processing GPS tracks, trying to find climbs from things. So I found that it's super important to have the UI good for that stuff, because it also helps me understand what the system is doing. Because how do I know if it's stuck or not? But if I build a good user interface, it will also help me to build the system, because I know what's going on. It's downloading file, processing images, finding climbs, uploading your, all of that stuff. It's really good. It kind of forces you to think of UI, because you're building the UI.
I think those are actually quite difficult UIs to get right as well, when there's some background processing going on. I mean, something that's uploading is easy to understand, but
for sure. But the thing about this, like, you think about as a developer, you think about, okay, how do I figure out the progress bar? How do I figure out that? But you don't have to figure it out. All you need to say is that I want you to give a progress bar telling me how much work there is left, and give me details what you're doing. You don't have to figure it out. It literally did things like it has a a chunk of GPS files left.
Yep.
And it was able to estimate how long the time is going to take for processing all of them. It isn't
Yep.
always correct, but the progress bar never are, right?
They're never 100% correct, that's true.
So, but the main thing was to me, okay, let's see if I fixed the problem. I fixed it. Much better. There we go. But now the grouping broke.
Oh.
This is very typical, though, that things just break on when you.
Can I
just
just something occurred to me when you wrote that last request. I wonder at some point whether having a sort of a taxonomy of what you're doing in a project actually would really help the LLM. So, you know,
Yes.
image grouping, what does that mean? In what context am I using image grouping? Is it relating to this page? Is it relating to another page?
I did actually.
And I think this is something that over time we can kind of refine our language usage.
That's something that I think I've been learning a lot. And this is, again, Enrique would just, he's taking another level. But what I've learned now when I start a new project, I first work with the agents.md and explain what the project is about. And especially now we're working with peer is super good, which I think I will show you still before we end this stream on this project.
Yeah.
Because he used Claude Design to create design system for Snap technology.
Nice.
So what I do now is I just take the design system for the document hub I showed you earlier as well. I just take the design system folder and I write into the agent.md say, this is the design system you use here.
Right.
Everything is just automatically fully logos, everything is always there. And styling is everything there. It's really good. So setting up the project, when you do this, you've here's the purpose, here's the design system. And then another thing I did is saying, always keep this technical definition document updated, and it's geared towards LLMs. So I can switch between models. And because it's in the MD file, the agent.md, if I switch between Claude and Gemini, they both understand it. So they just go like and read the technical documentation, which Enrique talked about this LLM handover yesterday and before, which is really cool.
But there's something I'm thinking about something different. I'm thinking about the LLM human interaction. So this is now an issue, not computer human interaction now. It's a different sort of usability thing, right? Where humans are very, very inconsistent, right? And depending on, actually, I think depending on the culture, depending on the language, they can be even more inconsistent. You know, in my language, in my culture, there are lots of different ways of saying the same thing, right? And there are lots of ways of saying nothing as well. You know, language is a very flexible piece. So we're not used to having exact language and consistent language when we interact with each other. But I think LLMs would benefit from precise, consistent language.
And you need to be more Finnish than British, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe that's it. I mean, maybe there's some cultural disadvantages of, you know.
But I wonder how much it depends on the training data. Like
maybe.
Should it just match if you match the training data, will it get the understanding, will it understand better or generate better tokens from that? Or that would be an interesting. I bet somebody's written about it.
So let me just take a simple example. Yeah. Sorry, I'm today. Obviously, I like to go off on tangents today. But
go ahead, I type.
Type. But let me just take a really simple example from what we're looking at the moment. It's like you called it an image grouping. What would happen then if I come in and say I kind of call it image collection, right? And these two things are the same thing, and we sort of would kind of guess that we're kind of talking about the same concept. But now we're asking the LLM to understand that we're talking about the same thing. Now that's a really trivial example, but I'm just thinking over enough people in a big enough project, those inconsistencies must have an effect.
Yeah, right.
And so this is now a skill set that we might have to start learning as, I don't know, people dealing with LLMs, is how to have a very consistent use of language and phrase terminology and naming and that sort of thing.
It's not what you're describing is not
Oh, temporary glitch. You're back.
Sorry, I lagged out. Yeah, so what I'm saying is that it's not completely unlike the design system definition that we're doing. The design system definition defines terms. You know, when a button, when I use these are there. It has some similarities what you're saying, I think, with that. So that could be a place we could look at, because I think you're onto something. That's when the LLM is super powerful when you do everything in your head and just do yourself. But when you bring a team into the project, this stuff is important.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I also, even within myself, right? I'll again, humans are inconsistent, so even within a single engineer working on a project can bring in these inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I wonder.
So for now, I thought I will solve the problem we talked earlier by just keeping both images. This is not an optimal solution. This is actually quite bad solution to it. But this will probably lead us into a place where we understand how it feels to use. So it's like a prototype of. It gives us full functionality to understand what do we actually need, because we clearly don't know. And this is a good place again, saying where we can save it by vibe coding, by looking at something that we can tangibly try.
That's it. That's it.
So, okay. So,
wait, wasn't an accept all even?
The star is off. Okay.
Yeah.
So now it should only show these images here. That works.
Nice.
So you should be able to select which ones you want to show. I'm not happy with the UI flow, especially because it's a single page application and the scroll state is all is copied over the thing. It's a bit annoying. Oh, it's doing something.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that kind of works. So in my head, that makes sense to favorite images. Favorite also is a common pattern in editors in general.
Yeah.
So it should be quite easy.
Agree.
Now, I need a little bit understanding from your side about the image processing.
Right.
Now we solved the cropping, manual cropping. That was the easy part. We need to solve the background thing. So is there a way to give parameters to the background isolation thing? Also, if we make a mistake here, what we somehow need to do, we need to keep the original image data with us throughout the edit process. Because once we crop the image and we lost all the data, we can't ask it to refine the background cropping, because that data is gone. It needs to have the original image. So what image processing like Affinity does, it doesn't actually do any destructive cropping. When you crop, it just add a command crop here, and it runs it like a script, and that's your end image. And we get to quite complicated image processing here, but the end goal has to be, we need to be able to refine the cropping to make it better. So,
well, this was sort of my idea of not having a destructive crop, where it just adds something. Yeah. I think for simplicity, we should just say, I crop, I add a new image. If I don't like the image, I delete it and I start again. I know that's kind of maybe a bit basic, but I think once you start, I know where you're going. Once you start going down that route, we start really building quite a bit of complexity, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how often we'd need that complexity.
Well, how do I get from this point to an image? So now it keeps both. So when I crop, they are both, right? But now what I want to do, I want to process this one and
Yeah.
refine the background processing. But that's gone. Right?
I've got an
Go
idea of how to do it really cheaply.
Go ahead.
I think it's,
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll work.
Yeah.
So if you think of it as a, so there's a timeline of changes, right? Now, the sophisticated, well, the right way of doing it is to say, what I record is the actual operations, right? It's actually a timeline of operations, not a timeline of files, right? So we could try that, right? And just say, okay, we just have that list of operations. And then we see whether we can get the back end to replay those operations in sequence against the image so that we can just go back in time. So that's one thing, but we really do start getting into proper image editing.
Yeah.
The cheaper way, and because this is quite a small tool, that might be enough, it's just like, we actually just make, each time we copy the image. And so rather than showing all of the copied images, we just show the latest version, but I can almost like undo that operation, go back to the previously copied image. I don't know how usable that will be, but again, in a small scale tool, might be easier than...
But this ties us into a specific steps, because once you've done the automated process of the background,
right,
you can't fine tune. Any pixel that's deleted from the next stage cannot be brought back because that's data lost.
Right. You're basically, all you're doing is you're doing each time you do an operation, you create a new image. So you can't, you have to completely undo that operation.
Yeah.
So it slightly depends on how I'm going on the assumption that the operations we're going to do are very basic, like crop, maybe flatten the colors or something. You know, they're going to be single button click operations is my assumption.
Right.
Because if it starts getting more complicated, then we might as well just start going back to Affinity and start doing stuff in there, right?
But we need to somehow solve the kind of issue of, like, I can't use this image because the crop is so bad, right?
Yeah.
So how do I fine tune the cropping algorithm to make this better? That's a question, right? I need to be able to now say, okay, well, apply the crop, but don't be so aggressive, you know?
I see what
so
you're saying.
I also almost see as like a slider here that I can just slide and say how aggressive. Now, I don't know what the parameters for the cropping or the background removal algorithm at the moment is. We use the
Onyx.
What is net? What do we call?
Well, there's the library on top is the RMBG, REMBG is the Python library, and then underneath it's using a language, not LLM, basically just another sort of AI type model.
We could, we now somehow need to be able to find the data again. And actually everything else that is being done is just cropping. I think this and this image, we not actually moved. It just took background and treated us as one people. So that's kind of it. And here we are cropped around. So for example, this one, you look like a Darth Vader in this one. But like if I,
I like that one. The good news, Juhani, is that actually the cropping is very consistent because that's exactly what happened last time. So that's a good news.
Yeah, that's true.
Consistently bad.
That's it. Yeah, it's not. It's deterministic. These are actually the only two pictures that actually are quite good. Which is the star not being middle annoys me.
Well, why don't you fix that while we're discussing it, because it can run off in the background.
And also I think you're right. Just by clicking, why do I have to say process?
Yeah.
For this one, I would do this. Grab a screenshot. Yeah.
So, I guess for me the other thing let's go back to the original idea of why we're building this tool, right? Because people like me complain about using tools like Affinity because I'm just bad at using those tools, right? Yeah. And one of the things I'm bad at is all of these starting to get to the nuanced pieces, right? Where the crop's not great, and I want to just do this, and I want to refine, I want to tweak, and I'm not when it comes to that sort of stuff, I'm just not a tweaking kind of guy from design. So I really just want button clicks as my goal.
Right.
So I'm not saying that we can't have any tweaking, because of course if you want to tweak that, we should be able to do some tweaking. But I had in my head this kind of idea that I've got maybe 20 different screen grabs from the thing, and I just say, well, which is going to be the best one? And I just throw away the rest.
Yeah. What we could do to get back to this state of what you're looking at. So at the moment, I do not believe we can get out of some kind of manual confirmation of the background removal.
Yeah.
We could try to use Gemini API key, saying, can you do it better? I think Gemini would probably do it better. But there's two failures in our workflow now. The correct cropping and the correct background removal. I believe it can remove backgrounds better when there's just one person in general.
Okay.
So that's just a guesswork. I don't know.
Okay.
But I guess it's better because you can focus on just one thing. So what we could do, when we have the left column here of the original images, we can then, firstly I want to make this bigger because I don't see enough information. I want to be able to just scroll through and really see images. But we could create in a way so that I can just scroll these images and I can see here if it has failed with the crop, right? So what if we make this one special? This is the original image. The system will know what is the original image. And we could tell here something like process again, but change parameters. Like, I'm not sure how we can do that exactly, but the idea here would be, okay, I see here that it didn't crop us properly, but the background removal is not very good. Here, same thing, whatever. Here I say it worked correctly, and actually the background removal is mostly good. In your case, it's better.
Yeah.
So this I see is pretty good. But I could go here and say, try again, doing better. Or I could go here and say, okay, the background removal is horrible. So try again with better background removal. And it could just regenerate the images that are here. Because what we could do here to help our work is firstly, tag the original and tag the first generation auto-generated ones. And then if I go manually do something, like I think here, if I go here and go crop the image, then that's user-generated content, user-created content, and you shouldn't be messing with that. That's now here. Whatever you do, that's locked in because I created that.
Right.
But what we could do here when we have auto-generated stuff, we can just go back saying, change some parameter. Now I don't know what the parameters of the libraries are, but we could try to go and fix these. Yeah, that's basically.
Let's find out. Okay, let's try it.
Let's do a couple of things with the UI to make it better. Tag.
I figured out, just right now, the really critical missing part of my stream setup, which is having a coffee machine right next to me, so I can get coffee refills.
That's it.
That's the missing bit. Or actually, maybe
to make coffee.
Maybe tomorrow. Oh, yeah, I think your dog's gonna struggle to reach the coffee machine.
Good.
Maybe I'll bring a thermos of coffee tomorrow.
That could solve the problem.
That might be the cheap
you
technology.
turn off your camera and go get coffee when I'm typing.
That might be another option. No, that's.
Or the next project next week, when this is ready, we figure out how to LLM coffee.
Yeah. Well, I guess if we're in a, I have actually done like sort of Uber Eats to get a cup of coffee before, but not here. This is in Kenya. It's like, you know, the idea of going down the stairs, cross the road into the shopping mall to get the coffee. I was like, I'll just get someone to bring it.
Mm.
Right. So shall we walk through the prompt before you send it off? Just
we can, yeah. So this is kind of two parts. I want the images to be bigger so I can see better what's going on.
Yeah.
And I want to this kind of create this tagging system with this uploaded images and auto-generated images, and imply that there's user-generated images is the third. And I want it to make a change for the editor page when I open an original image. So I have different controls. So basically, this might be a wrong guess, because maybe I want to run the processing for the generated images. Because other option could be that we make the background cropping extremely conservative by default, and we say try more, try more, try more. But let's see what happens. Basically, I want to be able to separate the editing the original and editing the others. Yeah. And I also want to make sure that it doesn't, it overwrites the other ones that it generated, because otherwise it just blows up and there's going to be too many images. Because I think if you press reprocess, it should just, you know, right now it will just run the same process. So next step is to figure out how can I tweak the processing. But I think it really might be that we just make the background removal very conservative at the beginning. The default values are very conservative, and it might just be it doesn't remove anything. And then we can just make sure the cropping is perfect, the background removal is kind of there, and then we just go more, more. Not sure how we can fully automate it. But also, if we do this kind of steps, we can probably at some point identify the place where we need automation, and we can then drop a Gemini API key there. So okay, we have to, if we want to make it fully automatic, it needs to be like this.
You know what? I might try at some point. Hold on. Yeah, I might try and put something like ClaudeBot or Hermes running on this Raspberry Pi here, which is now a very valuable item, I found out. And just see whether at some point we'll take all of this and just say, okay, this is how the tool works. You know, you figure out, just make the, just go and do it.
Because if it runs on like a Raspberry Pi, if the processing of one video takes 1 hour, it's fine, right?
So what? Yeah.
Let it do it, but it might be it's just simply not able to load models that are relevant. Although I saw some YouTube videos where they're running Gemma 4 on mobile devices, which is funny because the default Gemma 4 doesn't load in my Windows PC. It just goes like, nope, not loading.
Ilan was talking about that yesterday, but I was really shocked. So because I was doing some of this stuff for one of my kids with Raspberry Pis, I looked online. A Raspberry Pi 5, 16 gig, so sort of the top end Raspberry Pi 5. It costs something like £360 at the moment. So that's what, 400 euros. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
I mean,
we need to get back to some reality, right?
Yeah, but it's just like, that's why I said this is a valuable piece of kit, because not only this is Raspberry Pi 5 in here, but it's also got a 1 gigabyte SSD in the enclosure. So those two things together is probably worth about 500 quid or 600 or 550 euros or something, right? Which is nuts. Yeah.
Okay, mostly it worked. So I'm able to reprocess the image. The UI, I'm unhappy with the UI because now I reprocess and the
Yeah. So, hold on, wait. When you're reprocessing the image, is it replacing or adding?
That's the same thing.
Oh, sorry, you froze.
Sorry, I'm lagging. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I was lagging. I was talking and lagging. Sorry, what were you saying?
Well, I was asking, when you reprocess the image, does it add, does it replace the images that were auto-generated?
I asked it to replace them. So that's why I have this process of it's called auto cutout. Maybe not the right term, but it's tagged original auto cutouts, and the bug now it's actually fixed it. So I instructed it to overwrite anything that is automatically processed, but not overwrite anything that's here. So if I go here, it should keep the one I created, and it didn't. Okay, there's a bug. So basically, I don't want it to overwrite anything that is.
Okay. How about just for labeling, we call it auto, what was it? Original, auto, and user.
Yeah, right. That would be better. What they called? The user. What was it called? User credit. Okay, but then in general, so now next step is to figure out how to do it. Like what I would love to see when I press reprocess, I need to see the images that come out. I hate the UI again, like because I have to go back and see. I can't remember what it was before, but that's really not the problem I want to solve now. That I will solve later on. This also, especially Claude, is very good at figuring out UI. And if you use something like, oops, wrong page, find skills. So if you do something like this and add a skill from here, this is the Anthropic UI design skill. So you can basically just say, this is a website by Enrique. So you can just say, review, propose improvements, and this kind of stuff it will just figure out. So the first step after big chunk of work is just, let it do that.
That's good.
Okay, let me verify that this feature actually worked. Let me crop this image better. Apply crop, back to library. So now there's user generated image here, and if I reprocess it, it should keep my user created image. It did, good. Okay, all these features work. So now I want to figure out how to fine tune
I'm just
the things.
I'm just having a look at the documentation for this REMBG library. That's kind of interesting. One of the cool things it does is you can run it as a standalone process with an API against it. I mean, I don't think we need it for now, but that's kind of cool actually. That you can do that. I think it might end up being, Oh well, we'll ask. Yeah.
Aggressiveness. I don't know how to spell this, but unfortunately I don't have to. Everything in English with these ness words are impossible to spell to me.
Yeah, it's yeah. There's a whole lot of mess in our language.
Tonight probably will come up with the implementation plan. I hope.
Sorry, there might be some background noise for me.
That's right.
Let me just go and mute for a sec.
I also definitely need a new coffee.
Yeah, I wonder whether we do a pause in the stream. I'm going to share with you. I don't know whether we want to look through this, but open the chat. Yeah, we could do a quick pause, right, for a coffee, like a 5-minute. We need a back soon screen. Maybe just knock one up in Claude Design, and then we just leave the screen there. I shared with you in the studio chat the documentation to this RMBG. The only reason I don't know if we want to look at it right now, but the only reason is that they're actually at the bottom of the page. There's a whole lot of other models that we could look at. So that might be another thing, is that we're using we're using one type of model, but maybe there are other models that are
right.
That give us more success.
We can feed this into the model and see.
Yeah, maybe it can make some recommendations.
Okay, I wish it would have created like a implementation plan thing out of it instead of this. This is a more difficult format to do. Edge smoothing. Multi-subject splitting controls, padding. AI model selection.
Yeah.
Drop down. Okay. Let's try them all. What could go wrong?
Every model. I mean, what might be quite interesting as a test is to ask it to output, the same input image and output everything one for different models.
Yeah.
For us to start to kind of get a sense of what works. I mean, it will be a change that we have to undo, but that could help us.
Yeah. Okay. Now it came up with the implementation plan, which is good. I like this. This is what I like about the anti-gravity one, because now I don't really go through all the details in this kind of project. In other project I probably would, but it quite clearly also flags when there's questions. So. Yeah. Here it says, okay, you need to answer these questions.
Okay.
You will show. Okay, show a detailed.
I mean, actually, it's also super nice that you can just comment in line like that. I'd say.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's really nice.
Any specific default values? And then it tells how it plans to do it. Looks good. Yeah. This might take a bit longer. I propose we do a coffee break at the moment, so
Yeah.
we'll be right back.
Is it still in the plan mode?
No, now it's killing. Now it's gonna build it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
Be back
Okay.
in
Yeah.
3
Let's
minutes.
come back in a couple of minutes with coffee. Okay.
Still processing the prompt. All right. Let me give it a go. There's some options. General.
Okay.
Cutout, background threshold. Auto splitting multiple subjects. Min size to keep. Crop padding. I think here the reason might be that we are so close to each other.
Yeah.
So I suspect. So if I do this, just a guess. No, failed. No, it did work.
It worked. Oh,
Yeah, now it's able to split the whole thing. But of course now I go back here. All the settings are wrong. So this needs to be. I need to be able to iterate right here. If I have to go back and forth, changing these parameters is really difficult, especially because parameters go back.
That would drive you nuts.
Yeah.
Plus, the other thing is, if as you move the slider, do you actually see the values change? Yes, you do. Okay, at least that.
Yeah, you do. Min size to keep. Okay, well, this is irrelevant, I think. Okay, this fixed the splitting problem, but now we need to figure out the background. It says there's a couple of different models. Human segment. No idea what this is. I don't know if you know.
Nope. So this is to be honest with you, the failure is mine. When I get into all those design tools, this is why I immediately shut down. It's like I don't know what all of the options are, what they do, how they affect the image, and I'm maybe I just not interested enough to learn what they do, to be honest.
Okay, let's see. Back to library. Okay. Not good enough. Okay, now we need to figure out how we can create a smoother workflow to go to basically be able to find the right settings for the files. Now we have all the tools that we have. Yeah. So what I will do now, just to make sure that we don't lose the progress, is to make a commit.
Yeah, that'd be good. It's interesting, it only gave you 3 models. There are a bunch of other ones.
Well, we could probably ask it to.
Anyway, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So, what would be the right?
Oh, yeah, pause again. Hey.
I want to see the output on the same page.
Yeah,
that's basically the first step.
I think that's an important one. No.
Yes, once this is done, then so if we can get the background removal things into a place, we have to keep some.
Pause. Triggered again. No. So again.
Sorry, I was lagging. I said we have to keep some manual work here because we can probably fine tune it best for this background we have now. But when we are in English garden, it's different.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's see. So if we get to a point where we can get this thing working, then we have the last thing tomorrow is the big one to try to get from video. And I don't have much ideas for that. I think we need to do some research.
I think so before
we can either do from local video files, but that creates a problem of having to download the file somewhere, and that's not always the case. We have access what we can do is
Do you think Riverside could export a bunch of stills for us? Maybe.
It does this automatic stuff, but we don't always use Riverside. We have an alternative. So on YouTube, you can put the video up as unlisted.
That's true.
And that means it's not published. And you could feed that link into this thumbnailer thing. So basically, you just upload it to YouTube and then.
Yeah. That might be a way. That's a lot of frames though.
Yeah, that's the problem. How do we? But there needs to be an algorithm. It can't just go and take the whole YouTube video. We need to figure out how to
sample
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube has. So when you upload the video, if you don't put a thumbnail, YouTube generates 3, or it creates 1 automatic thumbnail. But you can probably look alternatives. I wonder if you could somehow. Is there an API in YouTube that could pull this out? Because that would free thumbnails here.
That's a really good idea.
Okay, generate. So basically, I think this one, the only problem here is this crop padding. So if I go to crop padding 0, I also think that this could probably be like, why is it not 0 by default always? Edge smoothing. So this is only this right side is for cutting, right? So if I just go to 0 and reprocess, it didn't. Either it didn't up. Let me see if it did not work. Okay, let me work with this one, this image. Let me, if this works better. Crop padding, reprocess. Why doesn't it work now? It worked before.
This is the one it tried, right?
Yeah, this is the one.
This.
Well, this is strange. Oh, now it worked.
Oh, there. Then it worked.
For some reason. Why did this? Which one does come first in the algorithm? Cropping or background removal?
Background.
Okay. That's why then this also impacts the crop. Okay, now these images need to be bigger. I can't.
Yeah.
I know this doesn't look quite right. But
can
okay,
you just tell,
foreground threshold. What happens if I just go completely?
Just tell Gemini to make sure to put it in old man mode. All the UI.
Yeah. It didn't change anything. Background threshold. I didn't change anything.
I mean,
it didn't change anything.
Yeah.
These parameters don't change anything.
Not that we can see.
I also would like it to remember my settings for the particular image. Any ideas?
I mean, I think, do you think we should just try see if it will do some cropping first and then do the background removal? How about we just try that order?
That's a good idea. Okay, so let's change the model.
Yeah.
That changed something, but not a lot.
It's better, I would say.
Well, yeah, it's better, for sure. So this model worked better. But yeah, I think your idea is good. Firstly,
let's see if it works.
What does it call, the multiple auto splitting? Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
So I think in this case, if you create a good user interface for fine-tuning these things, and we can quite quickly find the right values, then it's going to be very good. But we probably in this process also find values that we should have as default.
Yeah.
So it will kind of, maybe we say, add this as default values, for the processing, or we could have, we can have step first where it recognizes if it's a studio or outside thing, and this is default values for studio, this is default values for outside, and so on. Okay, it created an implementation plan because there's a lot of work that I ask it to do. I can pretend I review this here.
I think that's it. I think that's the thing on stream, right? Nobody wants to see somebody sit and read through a couple of hundred lines of implementation.
But these are always the places where we need to actually tell it what we think. First, then the model.
And run the AI model 1 plus n times.
That is okay. Just make sure that you show detailed progress indicator.
Right.
Good. So
let's see what it does.
It's actually, I like that it kind of goes and, hey, if you do this, it's going to take forever. That's fine. It's okay. But because the system doesn't quite know, I don't know if it can know as such, but it doesn't know what the purpose. We haven't defined the purpose of this thing. If this was purpose that we publish it online somewhere and there's going to be 1,000 users, this would actually matter. But because it's going to be offline to run locally, if it takes 1 plus n time, and there's going to be always 2 or maximum 3 suspects, it doesn't make any difference. Yeah. But it's a thing that is kind of important to understand. That's what I like about this Gemini implementation plan. Of course, it's not comprehensive. You can't trust and say, okay, if it's not in here, it's fine. Or you still know what you're doing.
Question though, is the implementation plan something that Gemini, I mean, of course Gemini is the model underneath, but is it actually anti-gravity's system prompts?
That's a good question, because I could just switch here into the Claude and try to see if it does the same thing.
I suspect it's anti-gravity's, because I've not seen that. I mean, I don't use, I use Gemini a reasonable amount, not like hardcore, but yeah, it might be. But definitely this contextual commenting is part of the anti-gravity plugin. Yeah, that's really good.
Plugin.
I think that works really well.
Yeah, this might take a little bit of time because it has to change the backend processing order thing.
Yeah.
It might also break something quite drastically now.
So I did put in, it would be quite interesting, I did put in a smoke test for background image processing.
Oh, okay.
Might be kind of interesting to run that.
Let's queue it up.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. I mean, I know it was only yesterday. I'm trying to remember what the smoke test does. I think the smoke test takes one image and then processes it and just checks did it remove some background. I mean, it's pretty basic.
Well, basically,
So
the
it's saying,
process
do we
doesn't
have
freeze,
transparent pixels in that?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, I think that's more than smoke test. That's already a functional test. But,
well,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, it just verifies that the thing didn't break, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is just like, is there enough evidence that the actual thing processed successfully without really knowing the quality of it, which I think is probably enough as a smoke test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Maybe we need to add the smoke test into the whatever we use for the agents or technical documentation. It doesn't seem to know what I meant because I started editing the files.
Oh no. Okay.
Or it had to edit them to make them work. No idea. It's
okay.
now, yeah. Okay. So I think it's fine. Now it's asking me if okay to run the script.
Yeah.
Yeah, it edited some other files I think first. Maybe it found problems. No idea. That make everything pass.
I think that's part of is that part of your system prompt? Just make sure whatever happens, all tests have a green check mark.
Yeah. Whenever you see it's running tests, skip all the heavy processing.
Code coverage, hard codes, that's valued to 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe code coverage is going to come back in fashion as a metric.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if this code coverage starts to make sense. It's one of those things that never made sense. It's used only because it's the only thing that can be measured. So, but hold on.
The question still remains about quality, right? I mean, the coverage alone is meaningless.
Yep.
That's great. Works perfect.
Yeah, it's just a.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it has the URL parameter to the editor, and it doesn't know what test. Some context missing, which is fine. It's another one of those kind of UI polish fixes, which I definitely do want to do. Well, this doesn't work. No console errors.
Wait, console at the top. Hold on. Oh, I guess it will.
No, yeah, here it is.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how much of this you can start doing locally with the local models. If they seem to be like the Gemma 4 is because it's open source, while of course the DeepMind people at Google are probably quite good at the stuff they do, but they're not exactly limited in resources.
No.
I mean computing resources. That means that when they publish it open source, it kind of has a completely different vibe in it. Actually, talking of open source, I will search this up here so I can accidentally show something I shouldn't. But this is really, do you know this channel called Corridor Digital in the kind of video editing? They do really cool stuff. It's one of the biggest channels, I think, in YouTube. They used to, these guys, they have this kind of, they talk about video production, 7.1 million. So you're one of the few people who haven't.
Yeah, I'm Corridor Digital, Corridor Crew. Let me take a look.
So this is the video I wanted to show. So these guys, they created they play with a lot of LLMs and a lot of these AI tools in video production context. And they're very community forward, these guys, which is super cool. So what they done, they created an LLM-based green screen, like a keying tool. So what they call keying is meaning removing the green screen. You know the problems if you create a green screen, your hair is kind of not quite well cut and so on. So they created a tool that is using LLMs to do that, and they trained data. So this is the pro's video here that explains how he did it, how they did it about 1 month ago. And this is a video they published 10 days.
Hold on. Yeah.
So I'm back. Sorry. So
you're back. Cool.
So this is the video where they talk about it because they open source the model, but they run it in quite beefy hardware. So you had to have a lot of heavy thing to run it, and they open source the model, and people took it and they were able to really scale it down and make it run faster. So you can run it now on a PC, normal PC, and doing stuff, and the quality is very good. And this video, this is one of the founders from Corridor Digital. He's talking like, okay, I've now released in public. I now need to understand how can I make it functional for everybody. What is the model? What is the licensing model we want to do? They want to keep it open source, and you can use it for commercial production, but you just can't. I think you can't sell the model. You can't integrate the model in a commercial tool unless you pay them, something like that. Which I think is a fair model. I have nothing against the model.
That sounds reasonable.
But it's really cool to see from this 1 month ago video to this 10 days ago, it just went completely mad. Like everybody's taking it. And this is a story of success of open source. There's one guy who just taken because they just released the LLM-based whatever tool command line thing. And somebody created UI for it. That's a very easy to use UI. Somebody created the integration to DaVinci. You know, it just goes, when you create a tool that is really useful, it just goes viral, right? And I mean, really like this kind of stuff.
This is also a thing. It's like now with AI for building stuff. I mean, people who want to contribute can contribute, right? You don't have to dedicate 3 months of evenings and that sort of stuff. The hardest bit is creating the community, but I mean, they've got the community, right?
Yeah, that's it. And they've been on community people all the time, and they have connections to literally the folks who create Marvel movies and Star Wars movies, and all of these kind of people. So they're not just a small group of people. They have, if you look at the visual artists react or visual VFX artists react series, the guests are people who create all of these biggest movies on the planet. And you know, and in this interview as well, he called one of the guys who does these movies, saying, "What can I do for you to make your studio use this?" And it's pretty cool.
I mean, this is maybe a topic for. I mean, we could have this as a separate stream topic, but this is a kind of an interesting thing. It's like, I guess in their business they have a whole group of people who do nothing but media out. You know, running the YouTube channel, pushing the YouTube channel, because the guys who are doing that can't feasibly do all of the other stuff as well. I mean, we've had that experience in our business, right? It's like you just cannot dedicate. There's not enough time in the day to do this and all of the other things. But anyway, that's really going way off topic. So what's it done here now? So
now I have a place to see the images at the same time. They are a little bit bigger, and I can change the order. So now it processes background first. Interestingly, it actually changes the processing order changes quite a bit the output as well. High details for small faces. Small.
So
who has a small face? So okay, clean up artifacts. So I'm basically just running this to understand what these things do. What we could do, because it's kind of a local thing as well. You know, let's say you have a lot of time. You could just let it change the things and run it multiple times and say, okay, take next half an hour of my CPU and just run it. So then I can just live check what's going on.
So that would be better for me, right? For me, as I want convenience, right? Over convenience is more important than control for me, right?
Yeah.
So if I was to say, okay, let's have 4 different parameters that we could change, right? And let's run every single combination of those. And I actually probably don't even care what those parameters are. All I want to do is then look through the generated, the output and select the best one.
Yeah.
And and in a way, I suspect what you find is like that will probably get a reasonable result, right? If you to do it that way.
So I think I'd say.
Hold on.
Sorry.
When you did that crop, do you want to go back to that? That's the one that you cropped. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say I'll use this for you. So I just want to move to the next stage.
Yeah.
So let me find one for me. Why is it so small? But I need to crop the text field out. Apply crop, back to library. I hate this scrolling problem. I needed to fix it.
Yeah.
Here's me. Okay. Now let's say we're done with this for now.
Yeah.
We go back to the editor, and only the start ones are here. I said I want that as there. There's a problem with this snapping.
Yeah.
So it doesn't let me really put us where I want it to be. I also cannot rescale it from one edge.
Well, so now we have this thing where we want text to snap, but we want the images not to snap, right?
Yeah. There's a pattern for it. Okay, what I will do now is I will commit this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there's a pattern to fix this, which is of course holding it down Alt to remove the snapping. Okay. Okay. That works.
I'm glad you told me that. Again, as someone who doesn't use a lot of these tools.
Sorry, Doc wants in.
Yeah, that's cool.
There we go. We have one more audience. Yeah. So what I tend to do is I tend to confirm the model that I'm done with something. I don't know if this works, but I want it to kind of switch context, because like you see when we were editing with the editor, I didn't have to explain it all the time, editor. It kind of understood that we're working on the editor. So now I want the model to understand we're gonna start working on a different thing. I could also just start a new chat, but I don't tend to do that. In anti-gravity, you never have to. It just cycles the sessions automatically.
Right.
So I'd never have to start a new session. But if I would change fully the context I'm operating in, I probably would. But there's similar context things here.
Yeah.
There's two things we need to do to be able to say we kind of version 0.1, Z order and the snapping problem.
Yep.
Is it a command on a Mac?
I guess it must be. I don't know. You use a Mac, so I wouldn't know. I don't think I've used one since. Well, I mean, I've touched one, but I haven't actually used it daily since I think probably, I don't know, 2015. I don't know, something a really long time. Actually, I helped my wife out with some Mac-related stuff, and it was like, oh.
So here
felt very
again,
alien.
sorry.
Yeah, go on.
So here I'm creating new features that I assume have good solid training data. So for example, changing Z order, I don't want to go in the definition. So now I could say, okay, I want you to be able to bring forward, bring front, bring back. So I don't really, for the first iterations, I generally just don't. I say, do whatever, because I feel it's quite easy to go to the first version and then say, not that, but this. But probability of it pulling training data is pretty good. There's so much of software that allows you to change the Z order of components, right? It also might be that it's completely stupid and it creates some technical definition of, here's a drop down for Z order, and of course I don't want to do that. But if that's the case, then I just tell it, well, use a different pattern or whatever. But I feel that it's good to get to the version 0 very quickly. Just type something so you have something tangible to edit.
I think, it's always easier to iterate on something that's there than start with a blank page.
Yeah, you can always scroll back to the version control. You can use the model to roll back. You can just say, forget that, and it actually seems to be able to do. And it's even, anti-gravity even has a button here.
Nice.
You can undo. You can say, well, this command, I don't forget. So for example, if you press enter too quickly and start the command too early and you don't have enough time to press this before it's changed something, you can just go like, I just want to,
back.
I just go, yes. But for more stuff, what I've done is when I really want to restart for a certain earlier point, although in the presentation you sent me, it was an interesting thing. But what I do, I just roll back from Git and I tell the model I rolled it back. Because it kind of understood, then says, okay, it did something wrong. This is not what I want, because I don't want it to redo the same thing again. But the presentation you sent, and we linked it a couple of streams back, that guy was saying that he kind of then actually rolls back the model. So he has like a point saying, approach.
He's using this coding agent called Pi, where you can basically, in the session, you can have a tree of actions, and you can go like, oh, let's just jump back. So now the model forgets all of the stuff you kind of didn't want to do because it kind of took you in the wrong direction. So it kind of cleans the context effectively. Which is super interesting.
And I think that's interesting. But I'm probably too lazy to really do that. And I also, there's certain value of telling the model that's not what I wanted. I feel.
Yes, I suppose so. I think we're starting to get into that level where we're kind of understanding how to, the word's not manipulate, but how to put some sort of controls around the tools and how the LLMs operate. And I think that's just going to get better and better understanding that stuff. And I think that's going to get more and more important. And I think there's going to be a gap that opens up between those people who just throw stuff into the LLM and those who understand how to craft it a bit.
I'll post the corridor videos I talked about here and the chat as well, so anybody who was interested about open source stuff. So even if you don't care about video production, the open source story is very tempting and very kind of good, interesting in this one. They genuinely seem to be quite nice people. Okay, still working.
Still working, yep.
Now, I wonder, is there a value of giving the system any sort of memory, or do we just...
I've been thinking about that as well. I've resisted going down that route because it feels like a classic case of me overcomplicating things. So what you're talking about is like, let's say I hit refresh the page, does it remember everything I've done and keep the state? That's what we're saying, right?
It probably
it kind of
would
feels
help
like we
in
should.
dev phase. Like this phase, it would help because now I have to do everything again. But on the other hand, then it would require us to add projects, open project, close project, save project. It will like overly complicate the thing.
That's it.
Before it's ready. Maybe the right answer to this question is yes, maybe once it's ready. Once we've proven it actually works. Because we're still in so early phase. We might come to the solution that this doesn't work. Like we go back to Affinity. So then all that stuff is wasted. So at the moment we are working in a mode where we try to think it as a funnel. We're funneling to an endpoint. And at some point we might realize we misaligned and it's not possible to build a system with the tools we have that in reasonable amount of time. If you are infinite time, you can build whatever. But in a reasonable amount of time, this is not doable and we abandon it. And in that case, building a project management is not reasonable, right? It doesn't make sense. It's not reasonable.
There's another thing that's kind of niggling at me, which is, I mean, we're building this because we're kind of enjoying doing it. And,
yes.
But the thing that niggles at me is like, could it be that we then just take the idea and hand it over to like Claude Design or maybe like a Hermes or Claude bot running somewhere and to say, hey, make my thumbnail, and it just does the job. Right. And actually, maybe we're getting to the stage where actually it's building the software itself becomes obsolete. Even if it's easy to build it, maybe it just gets to the point where it's like, the LLM will do that job for us. Now that's a lot better. That's a much sharper cut, right?
It might just be because it's bigger.
It might be, yeah.
It's like I had this effect yesterday where I was like, oh, my phone screen is really good. I realized I just lost my glasses.
Man, that's such an old man move. Oh my God.
I know. I never pretended. Okay, now it is snapping. If I hold Alt, it's not. Well, there we go. Problem solved. Right. I want you to put you. Oh, I should actually crop us. Yeah, let's see what happens now if I go back to the library. It will actually redo them, right? Because I need to crop the label out. Apply crop. Back. Crop. There's some background noise here still in this one.
Yeah.
Crop.
It's very minor though. I think once it's in the YouTube on the thumbnail, you probably won't notice it. Or probably you would. Yeah. Or it'll irritate you.
Okay. Now I need to. Okay, good. It didn't.
Oh, yeah.
It did not remove these, but which is good. I don't want it to.
Oh, I should have.
So I want it to do again.
Okay, interesting.
Pressing Alt. Yeah, that's good. It's a bit annoying that this one is at the one corner, but actually it feels relatively minor. Good. Yeah. Okay. Drag and drop workspace. Grid on. Off. Bring forward. Send backwards.
Okay, well, it works. It would be easy if it just sends to back. I mean, I know that's.
Yeah. It's definitely is kind of, we don't know how much back we're gonna send.
Yeah.
It's a bit annoying. If I just click it, it kind of. Okay, let's try to actually create one. This is again where, when you just play around, you might end up in a state where you didn't realize what you actually needed.
Yep. Agreed.
YouTube. Generator with LLMs. episode, whatever episode this is gonna be, 24.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is annoying. When I click to select, it goes to.
It brings it forward.
Well, it clips, it snaps again to a place. So now I have to move it again. You look appropriately baffled.
Yeah, like what are we doing today? That's pretty much my resting face.
So now I can actually move this also where I want it because it works the way I want. Okay. I want this to go back. This is good enough. Okay.
How's the? So there's no wrapping, right? I mean, I can't resize that box generated with LLMs.
You can. Fuck, wrong button. Go away.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you cannot. That's right.
Oh,
There's no way
yet.
to.
The preview is working well. That's a positive.
Yeah. Let me see if I add a line change. Fuck. What happened?
I think it's going to. I think a single.
It just generates the image immediately.
I think a single text box in HTML won't accept a single line text box won't accept it.
No. So it's somewhat difficult to edit. Now I need to find the center point somewhere again. Come on, where's the center?
It doesn't want to take up.
That's very annoying.
It works in one direction, not the other, right?
Yeah, that's it. There's some. It's probably the. It's also probably just doesn't. Don't know what's going on with that. I think the.
You know what I'd really like on this? I don't know. I might be able to experiment with it. It's like a button that says auto layout, and it basically puts everything in the right place, and I can go and get more coffee. That's kind of what I want. Maybe just a single button app. That's just one button. So like, do it.
I see a difference here. Let's see what it actually generates.
I mean, we're getting close. We're getting close.
What is the last one? Oh shit! Why can't it just open? Why can't I drag and drop file here?
I know. Feels like a basic thing, right?
So I can see a difference. The Z order is not exported.
Yeah.
Which is easy fix probably.
Yeah.
The positioning is correct though.
I think the edges are pretty good actually on the cutouts. They're maybe not quite to your level of quality, but I think it's not bad.
It's not bad.
There's a trade-off. The trade-off here, right? It's got to be. There must be a kind of a graph between effort to get the thumbnail done and quality somehow, right? And of course the goal is the super high effort, super low effort, super high quality. If I was to use Affinity, it would be the other way around. Like high effort, low quality. It would just make me want to go and start using a fax machine again.
But there's kind of a thing where what we can do here is basically get to a point where it's functionally working.
Yeah.
And then we can involve a designer like Pierre to come say, okay, we nerds, make this work automatically in a way that it's not horrible.
Yeah.
That's okay, fair enough.
Poor
What
PS.
we could even do is to create some kind of. So what I do when I do in Affinity, when I do this cutting of these things, then I actually take the eraser tool and I go like this to really fine tune the edges. Building an eraser tool can't be difficult with LLM.
But is it really needed? That's the question.
Well, this one
really
this annoys me. This is not correct here. There's some shadows.
Yeah,
here
but that's for me like there's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's like the closer we can get to a single button auto layouts, do it. You know, it's a kind of like it's the time saving worth a small bit of quality saving. I mean,
but if you get to the auto layout in a kind of perfection there, and then you take 3 minutes to fine tune it to make it actually very good.
Yeah,
if you make
fair.
UI very optional, saying okay,
that's fair.
I'm fine with that. Publish, right? Or okay, I have 5 minutes, and if the UI is very easy, okay, I just want to fine tune this one.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, one would. I mean, I would guess that there's probably a fairly standard set of problems that need fixing, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, now it fixed that one.
Yeah.
So let me. Yeah, now it's correct.
Okay.
The Z order is correct. I know, processing this. So what I want to do now, because we need to probably kill the stream soon, but before we go, I want to. To me, this is extremely satisfying. But they're saying editor 1.0. So before doing anything bigger, I always want to do is. Now, I will switch the agent. So here I have Claude. It's annoying. I have to open a file to open Claude. So here's Claude code. I actually have no idea which one it is which one it is using, which model it is using.
Okay.
But first, I'm going to go to find skills. I'm going to go UI.
Design. Yeah.
I'm going to go design, install skill, it copies it in there. I'll learn this. This is how easy it is to hire a designer.
Yeah, I mean, pretty mad.
Yes. So with Claude, I don't have the same nice approach as there is for Gemini, in this context at least. I could actually use Claude in the. Let's do that actually. Forget this.
What are you going to do?
I do new chat, and I change here to Claude. Which one is new? This one? This one? Which one is it? I always forget what is what.
I mean, Opus is more the coding one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And this. So we get answered the question of what is the tool that is using creating this workflow, because I can use Claude for this. Oops. Settings. Just looking at the where we at.
Yeah.
So the Google AI plan has some credits for all of these, but they train very quickly. But then it starts using these tokens. But I have so much of these tokens that they never run out. Even if I use Claude here, so it's no problem. All right, it figured it out. One more. Nah, let's do that later. I wanted to import the design system, but that's kind of maybe we can do it next.
No, we could do that tomorrow, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So, because it learned to be a UI, UX specialist, I'll just ask it to do a review. And in general, this is super satisfying because you get a lot out of it with very little work, assuming the improvements are good. They sometimes not. That's why having a commit before this is quite good.
Right.
idea. Let's see what it figures out.
Yeah.
The other thing is you can do the same thing with Claude Design.
Oh yeah.
So you just open the web version of the design and you can upload your project there. So you don't have to run it locally. There's an option to say upload code, and it just reads the code in there. What it did when it is
cool.
actually going to open the browser. That's pretty cool. The Claude can control
cool.
the Chromium. So what it did with the Claude design when I did design review of my climbing application, it recognized very quickly that it is unable to access all the screens because there was login. So what it told me saying, hey, okay, I can't access these things. So can you please upload screenshots? And it says upload these screenshots. I say now upload login screen, and that screenshot upload there. Now upload the empty state screen, upload there. And it then took all of that and reviewed it. And the findings were, interestingly, I ran the thing, and Pier's also been doing design review. They're not fully separate, but Pier's feedback is much more like everything's much more connected. Everything's like it's like a solid piece. Whereas the Claude says, well, here's a problem, here's a problem, here's a problem, right?
Yeah, right.
And then the Claude AI, Claude Design has a button at the end saying, export this to be imported to Claude Code. Like I said, do this.
Well, I think that they're being very clever in that they're starting to connect parts of the process, right? So that now I'm going to keep it in the Claude ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
Let's see what it.
So did it manage to upload any images? I don't think it did, right?
No, it's just pressing buttons and trying to figure out.
Yeah.
I think I don't think it's able to do that part, but that's also not the part I'm really interested about.
Right.
In general, it should be quite good. So this UI editor we have is actually horrible user experience with all these different scroll bars and all of these different drop downs, and everything it's just messy. I expect it to be able to improve it quite a bit.
Feels like it's made by developers.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But that's what happens with these features that spiral out of control. But the reason I want to do this part in Stream is that the process we've been working with is let's figure out what we want to do. Let's try to understand all of those things. And we've been tweaking user experience when we needed it. Okay, we need to see the export of the images now so we can understand the process.
Right.
But there's no point stopping, no point stopping and trying to fine tune things before you know what you're building. And this goes back to the kind of the framework of using LLMs with our clients as well, is to, go to a point where you understand what you're doing before you fine tune. You don't need to optimize the colors of the UI before you know that what you're building is actually the right thing to build. And this works with this tool very good. We have a shitty UI, but we know we can export the PNG. So okay, now let's figure out the UI.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting part is again, just thinking about some of the projects we've been working on, just the ability to course correct sort of in real time would have saved not just money, but actually got things shipped faster. I was just talking to somebody yesterday. I'm going to keep it anonymous so that it's not obvious who we're talking about, but and we're talking about a customer both of us know very well, and the amount of time they spend writing documents and signing those off and having reviews and all of those things. only to, at the end of the process, pretty much in the acceptance testing, do basically all of this kind of, can we tweak this, can we change this? It doesn't really do the thing I wanted it to do. But now between this, it's maybe a 3-month process to get the document signed off, another 3-month process to build the thing. And so they're 6 months into it, and only then do they start, it's really painful to see.
That's it. And if you had a piece of software in front of those people that they could tangibly try,
right,
it would have been quite valuable communication tool, I think.
Well, not only that, is that I think what I would see in that case is like, if you could build the functioning but non-production version. I don't want to call it prototype, because I think we need a new language. I'm not sure what the language is going to be, but a kind of a functioning version that everyone can then get to the point that this is exactly what we want. From there, you can generate the specifications.
Yeah.
And then you can sign those off. And those specifications probably need a lot more work anyway, because there's probably a lot of business logic. But I think we should start thinking about if we can encode in the review process, because what happens, again, my experience is that people look at a screen and then they start talking about the actual real life process, funny enough. And they're like, actually, the customer goes here, they usually have a conversation, and then something happens there, and then this other third person gets involved, and so they're leaking information all the time, but it's not in a structured format. So I think part of the thing is capturing all of those things, and probably AI is going to do that as well, capture all that stuff, and then from the design and all of that leaked information, you generate a requirements document. It's not going to be complete, but it's going to be, a hell of a lot better than it's done today, I think.
I think the requirement document's going to be running software.
Well, I've been thinking about that. It's still running. That's great. I've been thinking about that, and I think that under the surface of the software that's running, there's a whole lot of knowledge and things that happen, and those need to be captured somewhere.
Yeah.
So it depends on whether the running software tries to capture those things, and that starts to get kind of tricky, right?
I think this is it's probably somewhere in the middle. It's never extreme, but you capture what you're capturing, and what you talk about, the stuff that is currently kind of being missed is a lot of the real business logic, the real data stuff. And this is where you start to capture those things in the concrete actions in the code. And in the software. If you're able to prototype, it's prototyping plus, it's not prototype, it's real business logic, it's real data stuff. Think about this thumbnailer, what we did now. If we would just specify it without really deep technical understanding, we wouldn't understand the unknown unknowns. We didn't know that the background removal process requires a manual verification.
Right.
We didn't know that the process, maybe some senior enough would go and, hey, this is in this case, of course, everybody would understand it. But just use an abstract example. You have to build a thing before you can really start getting into those things. My thought about this thing is that stakeholders and domain experts have so much stuff in their brain that they accidentally omit, because they don't understand that we don't understand. A lot of these things go uncommunicated until they see the piece of software. And in the current process, that's too late. That you already built the thing. You already built 3 months, 6 months of work, massively expensive consultants been sitting in the corner and been building the thing that you didn't need. Building the right thing is you need to extract the information from the domain expert and the stakeholders. And the best way to do it is to give them software that they can click around and use. With real data, not click dummies. It's the big problem.
Real data.
Yeah. But
and the problem it amplifies, Juhani, because there's in a big enough setting, there's no one person who understands everything end to end. There's like, Janet over here actually gets involved in this part of the processing steps, whereas Peter is then downstream from Janet, and then no one person can say the whole system works, because those people, you know, they have the deeper knowledge, and so it's really, really hard to cross that sort of divide between so pools of knowledge and pools of experience. Really, really hard. Maybe it's impossible, only in written form anyway. Okay.
Let's look at the document. So it doesn't use the same terms, like it doesn't do implementation plan or review. So this is clearly a Claude terms, but it's still presented here, and it's asking me what to do. So it's presenting a kind of overview here and asking me which ones to go. So if I was using the Claude sorry, small lag. If I was using the Visual Studio Claude plugin, I would just tell, do 1.1, don't do 1.2, and so on. With an anti-gravity, this is a theory, this is unproven. So I suspect I can go and do comment in context. So it has created, this is what Claude does quite nice. It creates kind of different hierarchy of what are kind of different guys. Okay, first impression killers. Okay, display. These are visual problems. Asset lab proposal. Okay, if I can, let's try. Do these all. They look good. Let's see what is high impact layout. Yeah, agreed. It identified the same problems we have. This is too cramped. Status text, bring forward, disappear. Okay, fair enough. Found a UI bug as well. Okay, do this all as well. Medium polish refinement, color picker, UX minimal. That's true. Back to library button. Agree, wrong place. Do this. So that's good. Nice to have. Okay, this might be no page loading animation. Fair enough. Keyboard shortcuts.
Well,
don't need them. Don't need these yet. Missing favicon. No, not yet. Not yet.
That's always one of my annoyances. So let's leave it out, but that's fine.
Okay, do this. Okay, do this.
Right.
Okay, then looks good. Let's say what it actually does. It take my comments or not?
I mean, it should do, right?
I hope so. This is going to eat all my Google AI plan tokens.
So from this, can you then hand it off to Gemini to say?
I think I could, yeah. But it feels like if Claude is the one that recognized the problems, probably has an idea how to fix them as well. It feels like the model has the right data.
Well, I think that's an interesting one.
No idea.
Yeah. There's a sort of thing of like introducing different models onto the same code base. I mean, we've been hacking at that all the way through this last couple of weeks. But there's
you could run the same command with Gemini and say, how are you feeling about this?
So my kind of my sort of feeling would be to take the output of Claude, and I mean, whether it needs to be in a markdown file or something, then hand it back to Gemini and said, okay, my expert designer has done this review, updates everything to address all of these points.
Okay, actually I was wrong. Maybe this isn't. So yeah, it did now the implementation plan in the
Okay.
anti-gravity form, even though I'm using Claude.
Oh, nice.
Items excluded per request. So yeah, it caught my comments
Perfect.
correctly.
So now you could switch back to Gemini and say, okay, here's the
I
implementation
could,
plan.
yeah.
Go and execute. Right.
Okay, important. This is. It's fine. All right, let's go. This is where we get a lot of value out of small amount of work.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Or everything gets destroyed. It's very
okay,
bad
so we're
things.
implementing this with Claude, right?
Now we're implementing with Claude. Yeah, I didn't want to risk it. Now it's creating design system, but we could have fed in the design system as well, but next time.
Well, we can try that tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah.
Pop in the design system.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
I suspect that's.
Actually, what we should try to do is we should talk to Pierre, and if you're going to get Pierre on the stream to do the last day polishing thing, unless we can get the video input done. I mean, that's another interesting thing. But otherwise, we could just say, okay, you as a designer, it's a very typical like a project. Nerd code it for a bit, and then they ask designer to come put a nice paint on it, and they pretend that's the problem.
I was going to say, poor Pierre is going to end up sort of being a UI janitor, kind of cleaning up all the mess that we create, and just sort of, yeah.
Well, this is a kind of analog for designers working in a design project, in an open source project.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, actually, with these tools, there's hope that maybe the design of open source can improve. I mean, that's a topic we've got.
I think so.
In our heads as well.
Yeah. I think so,
yeah. Unfortunately, we've put forward a proposal for a talk in 2 conferences now, open source kind of conferences, about the role of design in open source, and they've been rejected by both. So it's clearly not a topic people want to talk about.
Or our pitch was weak. That's also possible.
Could be. I know. I talked to.
But I'm going to be talking about open source usability tonight at the GDG Munich.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, this weekend I'm going to something called OG Camp. Here, I'll share you the link so you can maybe flash it up on screen. Actually, I'm just going to put it in the public chat. Actually, there's this thing called OG Camp, which is organized as, it's a kind of an open source sort of maker community sort of event. It's one of those sort of unconference type events. Anyway, it's up in Manchester. So it's kind of a weird, it's an unconference, but it's still got a schedule of talks. So it's kind of a bit of a blend. But that should be fun. That should be fun.
I've heard of it. What would be a little bit nearer to me, I would come.
Well,
I think
you've heard of it because
people are going to be there, right?
Are they? Oh, they might be. If there are any there, then I'll happily say hello to them. It's we submitted I on your behalf as well submitted that talk proposal to these guys, which didn't get accepted. So, but yeah, first time in Manchester for I don't know how long. I was doing a project up in Manchester. It was the last time I was there, in a suburb of Manchester that was considered so dangerous that we weren't allowed to. Basically, we had to travel everywhere by car, and we weren't allowed to go anywhere by foot. Anyway, that's a whole nother story.
I've never been there. I've never been to Manchester.
Manchester's a pretty interesting place, actually. It's a good example of a city that's really managed to kind of turn itself into a very desirable place. And it's difficult in countries like the UK where everything is dominated by London, that all other cities are really kind of don't really get a good opportunity, but Manchester's done very well.
It's cool. This is obviously taking quite long, but
Yeah,
that's fine.
well, there's quite a lot of things to touch, right? Yeah.
I realized why your comments didn't show up last time. I was looking at the live chat.
Oh, right. What's that?
Oh, actually, I thought I realized, but I didn't. So there's in YouTube, there's like two things. There's top chat and live chat. I don't know. They still don't show up.
Oh, really?
I can show it on the stream here, but it doesn't show in the chat on YouTube for some reason.
Oh, interesting.
Only the things I write on the public chat. I don't know why.
Maybe that's maybe we misunderstand what this public chat's about. Maybe it's not about. Maybe it's like for when you live stream on people on the Riverside stream somehow, rather than on the YouTube stream.
But the comments I wrote about the corridor videos,
Yeah.
they appear.
Oh, they did?
As in the YouTube chat. Yeah.
Oh, I guess my link never made it then.
No.
Interesting.
I can post it. I can post it here.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, odd.
It really is. Maybe I don't understand how YouTube works. So maybe.
Well, I tried to flag it to Riverside as an issue, and then of course their AI support bot didn't know what I was trying to say to it, so I kind of gave up pretty quickly.
I keep hitting the token limits as.
Actually, I think maybe for next week, I'll start calculating what I've been spending at Zen. But the invoice emails are coming a little bit too frequently for my liking. So Zen. Whilst we're waiting, do you want to share a link and then we can have a quick look? It might be kind of interesting. Zen. OpenAI. Zen. They've introduced. Here we go. Yeah. We can have a look at this whilst the thing is while we're waiting. I'll put it in the public chat. I know that nobody else is going to see it. You'll have to add it again. But yeah, take a look at that. But this is kind of interesting. So basically, okay, so Zen is, so within OpenCode, they have a paid for product called Zen. OpenCode is open source and free. Zen is basically a sort of wrapper around a bunch of models that you can use, and it's a pay-as-you-go model, right? Not subscription. Right. So you have a lot of control over what, if you're going to use Claude Opus 4.7, you're going to burn through a lot. If you want to use something cheaper, then that's fine. So what they've done is that they've said, well, this is a topic you and I talked about just the other day. Not everybody can spend $100 a month, right, or $200 a month. So they've come up with something that's going to be $10 a month, and it's using good models, but maybe not the big models like from Anthropic or Google or what have you. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I actually signed up to this to see how it works. Seems pretty good so far.
Good.
So I'm glad to see then somebody's doing that sort of thing. but the kind of the bigger topic, which I guess we can touch on over the course of these streams, is kind of how the internet's democratized knowledge and so forth. I think AI is having an inverse effect, right? It's not democratizing things at all. But let's not get sucked into that topic. It looks like Claude's done its bit.
So I don't think it did most of the stuff it was supposed to do. It just modified a little bit. Let me check what I actually did.
You're right, index.css, not really.
I did press some other, let me check here. Yeah, it's only edited one file. So can I say continue? If this doesn't work, then I will switch to the Gemini. Right. Yeah, I think it just kind of got confused on the way. We actually killed with this big refactoring. I always kill the server. I tend to not trust the loading actually works.
Yeah.
Oh, we are 2.5 hours into the stream.
Yeah,
so
that's all right.
I
think that's okay that we get into slightly longer ones. I think.
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's okay. It's okay. It would be good to get this completed. So if this gets stuck again, I will just switch to Gemini and tell it to look at the implementation plan, and
right,
that should work. I haven't had this.
Has it still got the? Does it write the implementation plan in a file? Where is it?
Yeah, it's a local file. It's a little bit hidden. It's not in the file structure of the project.
Right.
It's in the anti-gravity file structure. So everything should have access to it.
And do you know is it a single file that gets overwritten every time, or is it like a new file?
Don't actually know. There was a way to look at it. So it's here. It says anti-gravity brain. There seem to be a lot of different things.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I think these are.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
It's definitely not meant to be looked at manually, but I think it doesn't get lost. But if you close it here, it's quite difficult to reopen it because it isn't. I think something is a little bit stuck.
Yeah, it's having a hard time.
Okay, let's go to Gemini.
Yeah.
There we go. We should have some music or some game we can play while the
Actually, yeah, music.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. We need a virtual football table or whatever startups used to have in the good old days. Table tennis and table football, and
Well, what we need to do, we need to hire Hugo to play live music while we apply live DJ while this is going.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, it is one of these things. I mean, sitting. I mean, there's that sitting waiting for the LLM to do its thing. It's like this is not the normal thing. I mean, I would never sit and watch the screen whilst Gemini does something.
That's what you do.
And that's really interesting because you do a lot of time slicing when you do this stuff, because I would then jump into something else, or like I've been sort of like turning away from the screen a little bit during this live stream because I've been kicking off Agent to go and do something.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
but it's also like, it's really kind of like we talked about this before. It's very intense. The agentic coding is very intense because there's this moment of really like deep concentration and deep thinking and in general. But this is a kind of, I think, exceptionally long task, and because the Claude got stuck as well. In general, I don't think there's this big breaks. But the way I've been building software is, when the agent is doing, I'm thinking about the next step. I'm kind of designing it in my head, figuring out what is the next thing, how would I improve whatever, and usually play around with the UI, and it's like, I wonder if I should change this. But then when there's big things like this, I honestly just watch YouTube while it's working, just to get the brain off a little bit.
That's fair. No, I've been sort of trying to get a couple of things running at the same time, like projects, try and ping pong between them a bit. But one thing
I actually wanted to ask you about, because you've been doing Home Assistant and home automation and all of these kind of things. Now I finally get my network hopefully set up soon. It doesn't solve the lag problem, that's ISP, but I have my kind of local area network problems. Probably I have the boxes I need to put in the right places. And once that is done, my Home Assistant is finally in the same network. I have the Home Assistant yellow. It's set up in the basement, it's running, but it's at the moment different networks I can access. But once I have everything done, it's going to be in the same network. And I'm kind of looking forward in really diving into seeing what I can do with the smart home stuff in the era of LLMs, because I think this is going to also enable a lot of different things to do.
For sure.
Kind of connecting things. Have you done any of the LLM stuff with the smart home stuff or Home Assistant? Or
the only stuff I've done with one of my kids is set up we tried to make like a Jarvis type experience. And we basically, this is pretty well documented. You can connect your Home Assistant. In fact, we had a Raspberry Pi. We connected it to Whisper for voice recognition, which is ChatGPT, and an LLM, and you could basically then just talk to the LLM. That's kind of really all it ended up being in the end. So that's as far as I've kind of got with that, but I could see the potential of it, and I kind of got. It's all about time, right? I think Home Assistant can eat up a lot of time. But what I did get, and maybe we can talk about it at some point, is let me unplug it. Is I've got a bunch of these Amazon Echo devices. So this one's running Lineage Android actually, so you can flash devices. So that's the thing that I've been focusing on is taking hardware that I've already got and getting it out of the Amazon or Google ecosystem into Home Assistant. So that's kind of cool.
That's good. That's interesting. Do you know if I can install Lineage on the Google Home Hub thingy as well?
That's also my list. So if you got any Nest Minis, somebody created a open source PCB. You can go to PCBWay or somewhere and get these PCBs printed. You can then disassemble the Home Hub, the Nest Mini, and replace it with a new PCB, and it works as a Home Assistant speaker, which is really good. And if you don't have them, you can go and buy them. For like
I have
18,
probably
20.
15 of them in drawers.
I'll send you some links to it. Because that's a fantastic way of reusing hardware. Right?
Every room we had one. But I didn't put it here because I don't want it.
This is a really great way of reusing that hardware, because it's a real shame to ditch that stuff, right? And actually, it's a very capable Home Assistant speaker stuff. So I'll send you some links to that. But the Home Hub itself, I haven't come across that yet. I bet you with Home Hub somebody's figured out how to put the lineage on that.
Let me see.
In fact, I should figure that. If you find that out, I want to know about it now, because I know that my dad's got his Home Hub. We bought him this Home Hub. When did it come out? 10 years ago, something. We bought him this thing because we wanted to kind of share photos, and we wanted to have like calls, video calls with the kids and that sort of stuff. And it's basically been sitting in his apartment as basically a digital photo album for the last 10 years. That's it. I don't think he ever even looks at it. So I maybe see if he wants to.
I have the same experience with my parents. Okay, the Gemini is complete. So it went through it created this kind of walkthrough. But I do like when you use anti-gravity because it's have access to browser. So it also went and took some screenshots of what it done.
That is pretty good. The screenshots, the fact that it takes screenshots is pretty good.
And the cool thing here is, of course, if I didn't like something, I could just comment here and say review and do this, right? However, I think we are a little bit, we need to start thinking about wrapping it up because I also have to go. I have the meetup today. So let me fire up the server. I killed the server because I don't believe the hot reload works. Actually the Snap logo is there. I don't know where it pulled it from. I have no idea. But it's there. It's there. Let's run through quickly to see if I'm able to still do the same things. If not, I will fix them after the stream. Here we go. Uploading a couple of screenshots.
Right. Yeah, I've never taken so many screenshots in my life since using LLMs.
Nope. Here we are. I like the visuals though. I think the kind of different background colors.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was lagging. Yeah, there we go. But I like these visuals. I think it's pretty nice visuals.
Much better, much clearer. Right.
Yeah. Let's try this one. Padding, size, clean up, switch, reprocess. Let's see if this works. Processing. Where is the progress bar? It worked, right? It did create the. This button is not quite right.
Okay.
I would go and argue with the machine. Okay, let's pick this one.
I think those sort of things you could just not manually change it, but you could just say, not go back to the design review doc. Just
no. I would just screenshot saying this is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I chose 2 images. I hate this that the scroll state is shared between the elements, grid guidelines. Good.
So those clickable up there. No, what are those things up there?
No, they're not. I think they should be.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those things. Again, when you kind of get one step forwards, then you're like, okay, now I know what it is, but I need it to do. And this is what I really like about this kind of iterative development.
You know what that is?
Yeah. It stays the states from here. And this is up and down.
Are those things the Z level?
These are the Z level, yes. But this is telling which guidelines are visible.
Right.
So we can switch things here. Okay,
yeah.
Let's add both of us here. Reset to default. I think these things are now outdated.
Yeah.
In general. Okay. Let's make you a little bit bigger. I'm holding Alt. I can get in the right place. Here we go.
As a note, I wonder whether they should be generally a bit smaller because they usually pretty blurred. Just looking. Anyway, that's another topic for tomorrow maybe.
Yeah. Well, they are definitely blurred when we take screenshots from.
Yeah.
Okay. Generator with LLMs. This with caps is hard coded somewhere. I don't like that.
Right.
There's more. The tools are much nicer now.
Yeah.
it's much easier to understand what's going on. The library is working fine. Let me generate a PNG and see that still works. It goes to my downloads. Still works.
Nice.
I think.
And actually, you know what? It's actually it's weird. Maybe it isn't weird, but in the editor, those screenshot images look a lot more blurred. The final exported image looks much sharper. Is there a reason for that?
Could be.
I don't know what it is.
It might be that it's the stream, because on my screen they look the same.
Could be.
It's probably the
Right.
stream.
Oh, okay.
Because this is now bigger.
Yeah, it could be the stream. Yeah.
But I think
Good.
this is a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
2 hours,
so.
40 minutes of.
That's not bad. It only feels like 2 hours, 35 minutes to me. Anyway.
Cool. Okay, then
All right.
I'll prepare heading towards Munich and GDG meetup and
Nice.
meet
All right.
some nerds. Thanks,
Good.
Jasper.
See you tomorrow.